Have you ever sat on a plane listening to the pilot's announcement and thought, what the heck is this guy saying? Or maybe you've noticed flight attendants using weird codes when they talk to each other. That's exactly why today we're opening the doors to that secret world. Pilots and cabin crew use a complete code system right in front of you, thinking you'll never understand any of it. And some of these codes are so shocking that when you learn them, you'll be like, no way! In this video, I'm going to reveal 12 secret pilot and cabin codes. Some are funny, some are a bit creepy, but they're all real. And at the end, there's a bonus code that when you hear it, you might never want to board a plane again. If this channel is new to you, don't forget to subscribe because you can only find these kinds of secrets here. Let's get started. Code 1, all call. The roll call, no one hears. When you board a plane, you might have heard flight attendants say, all call, cross-check. Most passengers think it's just some technical procedure, but the real story is much more interesting. All call is actually a roll call system. Every flight attendant responds with check from their position. This way, they verify that everyone is in place and ready. But here's the really interesting part. If someone doesn't say check, then there's a big problem. Either the flight attendant has fainted or they're dealing with an emergency situation. And you have no idea, just sitting there relaxed. The next time you hear this code on a flight, you'll know that they're actually conducting a secret security check for your safety. Code 2, cross-check. The safety secret. When flight attendants check the doors, they cross-check each other. So the attendant at door A checks the one at door B, and the one at door B checks the one at door C. This way, no error goes unnoticed. But why is there such a system? Because door systems are vitally important. If the wrong setting is made, the door could open during takeoff. Or during an emergency landing, the doors might not open. When you hear cross-check, understand this. The cabin crew is making a final check of the systems your life depends on. And they take it so seriously that they even check each other. When you think about how critical this system is, you realize how important even such a simple code is. Code 3, Operation Sunrise, Jim Wilson. The code you never want to hear. Now things get a bit heavier, folks. If you hear Operation Sunrise or on some airline's Jim Wilson code, the situation is serious. These codes mean someone has passed away on the plane. Yes, you heard that right. People sometimes lose their lives during flight, and the cabin crew communicates this using special codes. Why do they do it this way? Because they don't want to announce Mr. Smith died in 12C and cause panic among 200 people on the plane. Instead, they say Operation Sunrise to keep the situation under control. What happens in this case? The person is usually covered with a blanket and moved to an empty row if possible. The plane doesn't change route for an emergency landing because it's no longer an emergency situation. What's shocking is this. This situation happens much more often than you think. Especially on long-haul flights, it's unfortunately a normal risk for elderly passengers. Code 4, Code Bravo, fire emergency. If you hear Code Bravo or Code Red, the situation is really critical. This is the fire code. Fire is one of the biggest fears on airplanes. Because there's nowhere to escape, you can't call the fire department. That's why fire codes are taken very seriously. When Code Bravo is heard, the cabin crew immediately switches to fire suppression protocol. Special fire extinguishers are taken, the location of the fire is determined, and immediate intervention begins. The most common fire locations: lavatories due to smoking, galley, kitchen area, and baggage compartments. Even phone batteries can cause fires. If you hear this code, don't panic, but be serious. Follow the cabin crew's instructions to the letter. Because in this situation, every second is valuable. The good news is, modern aircraft are very advanced in terms of fire safety, but the risk is never zero. Code 5, Pan-Pan, the step before Mayday. The Pan-Pan code is the emergency code one step before Mayday. This comes from the French word pan, meaning breakdown. Mayday is used in emergencies with life-threatening situations. Pan-Pan is used in serious but not yet life-threatening situations. For example, one of the engines has failed, but the plane can still fly. Or the communication system has broken down. In this case, the Pan-Pan code is used. When pilots report this code to aviation authorities, priority is given but panic is not created. Airport firefighters prepare, ambulances are on standby, but emergency sirens don't sound. As a passenger, if you hear pan pan, take the situation seriously, but don't panic. The pilot is keeping the situation under control and preparing for a safe landing. This code shows how detailed pilots' risk management is. Code 6, souls on board, the count that matters. When you hear souls on board, pilots are reporting the total number of people on the aircraft to aviation authorities. So why do they say souls instead of passengers? Because it's not just passengers, but the entire crew. Pilots, flight attendants, and even undercover security officers, if there are any. This information is usually requested in emergency situations. Tower, souls on board, pilot. 150 souls on board. Why is this number important? Because in rescue operations, they need to know how many people to search for. If the plane goes down in the ocean, firefighting teams need to know how many people they'll be looking for. The word souls might seem a bit creepy, but it's actually a very common and respectful term in aviation terminology. Every life is valuable and counted that way. Code 7, deadhead, the passenger who works. When you hear deadhead, it means there's an airline employee on the plane who's working but not currently on duty. This person could be a pilot, flight attendant, or technician. They've been assigned to another city and are traveling as a passenger to get there. Deadhead personnel usually fly for free or at a very low cost, but they can assist the working crew in emergencies. If a flight attendant gets sick on the plane, a deadhead flight attendant can step in. Or if one of the pilots feels unwell, a deadhead pilot can help. So while you think the person sitting next to you is just an ordinary passenger, they might actually be an expert aviation professional. This system increases airlines' operational flexibility and also provides an extra guarantee in terms of safety. Code 8, galley cabin secure, everything in place. The galley secure and cabin secure codes refer to checks made before takeoff and landing. Galley secure shows that the kitchen area is ready. All equipment is locked, hot surfaces are turned off, loose items are secured. Cabin secure means the passenger cabin is ready. Seats are in upright position, seatbelts fastened, luggage closed, tables stowed. Why are these checks so important? Because turbulence can occur during takeoff and landing. A flying thermos could hit your head, or an open overhead bin could fall on you. Flight attendants use these codes to give pilots the message, aircraft is safe, you can take off. These small details are part of the big system that ensures your safety. Code 9. Approach, descent, coming down codes. There are special codes used during the landing phase. Approach and descent are the most common ones. Approach shows that the aircraft is starting to approach the airport, and descent shows that it's starting to descend for landing. These codes aren't just for pilot-to-pilot communication. They're also important for the cabin crew, because they have to prepare the cabin during the landing phase. When descent is heard, cabin service stops, loose items are collected, passengers are warned, emergency equipment is checked. Pilots also indicate how much time is left with these codes. 20 minutes to approach means the cabin crew has 20 minutes. Thanks to this coordination system, while you sit comfortably sipping your drink, the crew silently completes all preparations for landing. Code 10. Blue juice. The disgusting truth. The blue juice code is used for the blue liquid in aircraft lavatories. But this isn't an innocent cleaning material. This blue liquid is used to disinfect lavatory waste and eliminate odors. It contains very powerful chemicals. When flight attendants say blue juice low, they understand there might be a problem with the lavatory system. Or if they say blue juice spill, this liquid has been spilled somewhere and needs to be cleaned up. The most interesting part, this blue liquid is so powerful that it shouldn't come into contact with your skin. Flight attendants have to wear gloves when dealing with it. If you hear this code, postpone going to the lavatory for a bit, because either the system is malfunctioning or cleaning is being done. In modern aircraft, this system is very advanced, but keep this in mind to be sure about lavatory hygiene. Code 11, spinner, ground crew alert. The spinner code is used to indicate that aircraft engines are running. When the engine is running, the white lines in the center of the propeller rotate to form a circle. Ground crew sees this and understands that the engine is active. When the cabin crew says spinner active, it indicates that no one should approach the engine, because jet engines create very powerful vacuum and can suck people in. This code is especially important during pushback. Ground crew moves all personnel to safe areas before starting the engines. We don't hear this much as passengers, but it's vital for ground crew. Being in the wrong place when a jet engine is running can be fatal. This also shows how detailed the safety communication between pilots and ground crew is. Code 12, company frequency, the private channel. The company frequency code shows that pilots are switching to the airline's private channel. Under normal circumstances, pilots talk to aviation authorities, but sometimes they need to have private conversations with the airline company. In this case, they say, switching to company frequency, and switch to the company's private channel. What's discussed on this channel? Technical problems, route changes, weather updates, even special situations regarding passengers. For example, there's a sick passenger on board. We need an ambulance, or there's overbooking, what should we do? The interesting thing about this code, passengers can't hear these conversations because they're not broadcast through cabin speakers. So pilots might be discussing topics with the company that you never notice. Bonus code, Squawk 7700, the ultimate emergency. Our bonus code is the most serious one, Squawk 7700. This is the transponder emergency code. The 7700 code is used when the pilot wants to say, "We're having an emergency. Help us immediately." The moment this code is activated, all air traffic controllers make this aircraft a priority. When is it used? Engine failure, fire, communication loss, pilot illness, or terrorist attack situations. If you hear this code or see crew taking action related to this, the situation is really serious. Alongside the 7700 code, there are also 7600 communication failure and 7500 hijacking codes. But 7700 is the most comprehensive emergency code. The good news, this code is used very rarely. But when it's used, the entire aviation system mobilizes to save this aircraft. Pilots think a lot before using this code because the consequences are huge. Folks, we've taken a journey into the secret code world of pilots and cabin crew. After learning these codes, you'll have a very different experience on your next flight. Every code actually exists for your safety. Pilots and flight attendants use these systems to communicate professionally without creating panic. The most surprising thing is, we hear most of these codes every day but don't know their meaning. Now you've joined the elite group that understands that secret language. Which code surprised you the most? Write it in the comments, I'm curious. Also, what other aviation secrets would you like to learn? Don't forget to subscribe because next week we're revealing airport security codes. In that video, you'll see the codes TSA is hiding from you. Safe flights, folks. See you in the next video.